All right, fellas, cold open here. This is a bonus episode because shit went down. We
Presented by
really had a good
Beyond the
time.
fucking Monster.
We don't need to tell them that on a cold open, dude. They know.
Yes, we do.
No.
Yes, we do. I won't let you get away with it, you terrorist. Presented by Beyond the Monster. You
Fine.
fuck.
Presented by Beyond the Monster. We're doing.
You were gonna forget.
I wasn't gonna forget. I wasn't gonna do it.
You weren't.
I wasn't gonna do it.
And I did. So you know what?
Chris Henrique better be paying you bonus for this. That's all I'm saying.
We're presented by Beyond the goddamn Monster, and Chris Henrique's beautiful fucking face.
We are presented by Beyond the Monster, and we're not talking about that today, though. We're talking about the shit sandwich that came in the form of a Rafeal Devers press conference today. Did you happen to catch it?
I did. Well, I didn't watch the press conference, but I saw the clips. I saw the reaction. I saw the what is the fucking word? Media bonanza, the media firestorm.
I prefer media feeding fest personally. You ever see one of those like zombie movies, or like did you ever watch The Walking Dead where like the person gets bit and they fall down, and then like 1,000 zombies just appear on their body and consume their entire flesh as they're screaming for help?
Yes.
It reminded me a little bit of that.
I'm not gonna lie. This Rafeal Devers media thing, it's like I felt bad because I got rage baited, basically. The Red Sox media posted rage bait, and for about a second it worked. Like I remember my instant response in chat was like taking it at face value, like what a person does. Like I'm assuming that people are having good intentions when they're putting information out into the world. And I'm like, wow. Can't believe Raffy straight up refused to ever go to DH ever, and he'll never do it. And also, fuck every Red Sox fan and fuck the front office for even suggesting it. Like, to me, like, that was like the information that was conveyed as to what Rafeal Devers said. And luckily, I was smart enough that I didn't put a tweet out yet. I was gathering information, went to the chats. Some of our friends in the chats speak Spanish. Notably, I don't do that. I'm very white. I only know how to speak English. So... we have a bit of a conclave with some of our Spanish-speaking friends, and they're like, hey, that's not what he said. That's not what he's like. That's not true at all.
So what did he say? What did people say he said, and what did he actually say?
Well, basically, like, at least the vibe, and listen, correct me if I'm wrong, the vibe the Red Sox media was putting out, and like that everyone was amplifying, is that like this is a bombshell press conference. Rafeal Devers basically said, fuck you to the Boston Red Sox. I'm never playing DH once in my life, ever. I am a third baseman. That's not what he said. What he actually said, according to my Spanish-speaking friends, credit to El Huizo on Twitter.
Love our El Huizo. Love our boy.
Former podcast constituent co-host on the Pesky Report a while ago. From what he told me, what Raffy actually said was, he was a bit upset. He was a bit miffed about being asked to move off of third because he was previously promised that he'd be staying at third longer than this. But he also said that he understood that it is a business, and we'll see going forward what happens. He never once at any point said, I will only play third base. He never said that. That's not a factual statement. That's just a bald-faced fucking lie. It's not true. And yeah, I mean, this pod basically exists to combat misinformation, because when you take it on face value, like the reports, like I did, it's putting you against the team's like premier player, your best player. Like it's like it exists to make you turn on him. So now, like I start thinking, what was the goal of this? Like, are there some more nefarious deeds at play in regards to the framing of this Rafeal Devers situation? I'm inclined to say yes. And like mostly because the Red Sox media threw one of the biggest, most embarrassing bitch fits that we've ever seen last year, when Raffy had the audacity to make them wait an extra hour, without giving them a quote. And I'm sorry, like my read on the situation after talking with some of my Spanish friends is that, this is their get back. This is like them fucking holding their grudge, and anytime Raffy opens his mouth, they're going to try to frame it in the most dishonest, shitty, loser way possible. Like, I'm sorry, some of the questions that were asked during that press conference were fucking embarrassing.
The weight one was stupid. I understand the Cotillo question of like, do you want to be traded one? Because that one I at least get the logic of, which is like, okay, if he's saying that he's not going to move off of third if the Red Sox ask him to, then what are our options here? It's like an unmovable object and an unstoppable force. So I at least understand that one. I didn't understand why they asked about the body weight thing. Like, what player besides Pablo Sandoval have they ever asked that about?
The narrative that Raffy is out of shape is purely and only like a fan narrative. It has only ever been a fan narrative. It's never been reinforced or touched even once by a credible reporter or source on the team, because you're implying that Rafeal Devers doesn't work hard or Rafeal Devers isn't pouring his heart and soul into the Boston Red Sox, which just simply isn't fucking true. It's just simply not true.
I mean, I also don't understand why people are, even if he was like, no, I'm not doing it, I don't understand why that's a bad thing that he doesn't want to move off of the position that he prides himself on playing, that he was promised to play. Like, it's, and listen, this might not be the most the most eloquent way of putting it, but the way that people are talking about it, they almost want him to be like, oh yeah, no, it's totally cool. I suck. I suck, and I will sit here in the corner while Alex Bregman fucks my girl. And I'm fine doing that. It's totally cool. Guys, no, the guy has a ton of pride in his defense. I don't know why people are acting surprised about this after the entire offseason his agent was saying Raffy's not moving off of third.
Yeah,
like, I get it. I get that you want your rah-rah, I'll do what's good for the team. But Raffy has never been subtle about this. This is also why he doesn't like talking to the media, because anytime he's honest, it just gets torn up. It just, like, he just gets ripped to shreds. That's the Boston media here. They want you to be transparent until you're actually transparent.
The thing is, I was like, I would have had a problem if he came out and said, like, I will not move off of third base by any means possible, because, like, to me, that's like showing a astounding lack of self-awareness on what your game is. Like, it would be a stunning lack of self-awareness, as well as, like, we gave you $300 million. You're not willing to do what's best for the team. You're getting paid the money no matter what. And, like, we're paying you to mash. But that's not what he said. What he said was, like, I'm disappointed, and, like, we'll see what happens, which is, like, the cordial way of saying, the correct way of saying, I'm upset, but, like, also, I'm not going to throw a fucking child's temper tantrum. Like, Raffy handled it literally the exact way it should be stated. Like, he said what needed to be said. He showed to the world, like, I don't like this, but he also didn't throw a bitch fit about it. That's how you should do it. That's how a professional athlete talks. And he's getting lit the fuck up, basically, because translator just didn't do, like, the best job one for one in the moment, which also can be understood because, honestly, the response to the question, it was really fast. It was really, really fast. And, like, he didn't properly convey tone. Like, it's tough. Like, I don't think the translator should be dragged through the streets naked and skinned alive. But, like,
That
objectively didn't do a very good job conveying the message of what Raffy was saying. Again, Raffy at no point during the press conference ever said, I am immovable from third base. I will never play anything but third base. He never said that.
Hang on, I'm looking for Huitzo's exact thing. So this is what our friend El Huitzo told us. I think the most important thing is that Devers sounds very chill during most of the interview, not at all combative as the quotes make it seem. He makes it clear that they have barely proposed a change in position. Then, when he emphatically says he's a third baseman, it's because the translator literally asks him, what position do you wish to play? Overall, he seems chill, a bit confused and annoyed, but mostly by the insistent on the questions. They asked him like 10 different times, even though he plainly says no every time. He also clarifies that he's not going to change his position just like that. He never said that he will never play anything other than third base, but he is clear that it is not in his mind at the moment. He even goes as far as saying that he likes this lineup a lot and that he's very happy with the movements that the front office has made. He's very happy with Buehler and says Bregman is a good player and a good person. Then there's the stupid question about the weight. Honestly, if I was Raffy, I would have been pissed out of my mind. He honestly handled it very gracefully, considering a lot of not Spanish-speaking white guys were trying to get on his nerves. And on that note, I'd say that by the end, he seemed mostly annoyed with the media. It seems like he was fine with the team and that they hadn't said anything to him until recently. And he says, I don't need to change my position right now. And I think that right now is not translated and is important. By the end, I think he seems a bit mad at the team, but I think it's because by that point the media is making it look as if the team is actively trying to move him off of third base. Oh, and the big question of being traded, he clearly says he's always been a Bostonian, that he is willing to listen to the team, and very clearly, to me at least, a trade wasn't even an option in his mind. My main takeaway is that Raffy starts the interview very chill, happy, and gets annoyed by the media questions. And if anything, I think those questions stirred issues that weren't even on Raffy's mind, like the trade one.
Completely valid, completely good reading of the situation. Thank you, El Huizo, my good friend, for speaking two languages, which I am too dumb to do.
I cannot
also from Chris the Armadillo Cotillo on Twitter, he put a direct translation of some of what Raffy said in regards to him being moved off third potentially, or hearing the news of being moved off third. Potentially getting moved off third, I should say. It was definitely a surprise. I'm somebody that believes in people's word. I take it to heart. It was very surprising they'd suggest that. Since the beginning, I've known this is a business. Each side is going to do what's best for them and what's most comfortable for them. I don't think that this was the right way to do business, but I've always known that this is a business. Sounds like every response that an athlete has given ever to being mildly annoyed at a decision made by an organization. And people are lighting him the fuck up because of disingenuous, shitty framing. What the fuck are we doing here? Remember when I said yesterday when we recorded the fucking Pablo Carabas, the reputation that Boston media has is earned. It's been earned every single step of the way. Like, I'm sorry, like it gets proven 50 million times over and over and over again. It's such a joke. Like, you guys wonder why you're hated. This is fucking why. This is our guy. This is the dude who's going to be here forever. And, like, you're just basically, openly antagonizing with some of the worst fucking questions I've ever seen and then disingenuously framing his responses. Give me a fucking break.
Not to mention, because he's being framed as just not being a team guy at all. This is a guy that played through most of the season on, what was it, like one functional arm? Both of his knees were shot and one of his arms was shot?
Both of his shoulders were fucked and one of his knees were fucked.
And he played through the whole season because the team was competitive until basically mid-September, and they needed him there because the offense was shit out of luck if he wasn't playing. This is a guy that has played through pretty much every injury that you could expect a guy to play through reasonably, and some that you can't reasonably expect him to. And you're making it seem like him being pissed off because this thing that he's basically being shit on for this thing that he takes a lot of pride in is like he's not allowed to be upset about that. Like,
he's allowed to be unhappy. He is. And he was literally unhappy in the cordial, professional way.
Yeah.
He didn't say, I'm not going to move off third. He never said that. He said, I'm disappointed that, basically the organization went back on their word. And listen, that Alex Cora quote, he had to say something afterwards because of how it was being
spun. I thought Cora was fine. I have no problem with how Cora handled it.
Most of what Cora said was fine. One part, I just thought was very disingenuous was, Chaim gave him that contract. That's a joke quote. That is a joke quote. If you said that to Raffy, I think Raffy would laugh in his face. Chaim's gone. You know who else? You know who's still there? Everyone else in the front office that wasn't fucking Chaim Bloom. Are you joking? Everyone who's in that Sox front office has been there forever. All of you have.
Okay, but think about Cora's job here. His job is to try to smooth this stuff over. What is just let's just think about this for a second here. What is fresh meat for the Sharks of the 98.5 braid folks?
No, you're right. Just blame it on Chaim. Because
what is Cora supposed to do here? He's trying to calm the fans here. I don't have a problem with how he handled it. Chaim is fair game to use as a scapegoat, particularly because, as Cora said, he is in St. Louis now.
Also, ownership already been doing that. They set a very good example of blame everything on him.
yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. I don't. That comes with the territory. If when Dombrowski got fired, everything was Dombrowski spent all this insane money on re-signing free agents, and that's the reason we have to trade David Price with Mookie Betts. It's all Dombrowski. So this is what they do if their GMs are hobos or whatever you want to call it. They're sacrificial lambs when
The
especially when they're
biggest
not here.
the biggest criticism of Dave is his PowerPoint presentations were just too convincing.
I mean, that's all. I'm sorry. Like, this is a completely off topic here, but like, they could have said no to extending sail. It's not like Dombrowski put a gun to John Henry's head and
They
was
really
like,
could have.
giving him this.
He could have been like, "This is a terrible idea. Like, you're doing it a year ahead of time. Why are you doing that?"
Yeah, like it's just you just don't want you don't want to have to take responsibility for going along with something. Like that's on you, bud. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we had a nice 3 days of good vibes, and now we're kind of back in shitty vibes. These ones feel a bit more artificial than the previous ones. We'll see how long it lasts. I prefer to believe this is going to blow over. I'm still very much of the mindset, by the way, that this lineup is best with Devers at third base and Bregman at second. What I am hoping happens here, and I have no way of proving this, but it would be not the worst idea for Corida to light a fire under Devers' ass. You want to play third base? Fucking prove it. We have a Gold Glove guy here. Why should you be playing this over him? Also, we've got the top second base prospect in baseball. So why should we be putting you at third base when we could be DHing you, putting our Gold Glove third baseman at third, and putting Christian Campbell at second base? So if this is going to motivate Devers to maybe work on his defense, well, not even work on his defense more. The issue with his defense has never been anything physical. It's always been his focus, which is why I don't want him at first base. But maybe this is the kick in the ass he needs, you know?
I feel like that's a very graceful framing of what is a very dumb situation.
Yeah,
I mean, because like others have made very good points. I think it was Coley Mick that said like Cora this entire offseason to this point has been like saying like Alex Bregman is my second baseman. We're gonna play him at second base. Second base he's the new Dustin Pedroia. So like I'm sure Raffy's like, oh cool, he's gonna play second. Cool. I could just hang out here on third. And now they got him Simon. It's like actually, like I don't know, the idea that like this is the first time like they approached him about moving off third only now to me is insane. That is an insane thing to do. I get it. Raffy's on his farm in the fucking Dominican, but I'm still pretty sure he has cell service or FaceTime. I think you could have probably gotten a hold of him and, maybe eased him into the idea of this. Like, this is being shoved on his plate in front of the media now, like, truthfully, for majorly the first time. And, like, yeah, he's a bit annoyed, a bit miffed. I'm not shocked by that.
No, you can't. You can't blame him for it. You really can't. And one thing, though, and I guess this is maybe a silver lining, kind of does speak to how they feel about Christian Campbell right now. If you're having this conversation,
they want him to be in this lineup so bad, and good. Yeah, that's the smart thing to do. He should be in the opening day lineup. You make it happen, no matter what. And if Raffy does stay at third, and Bregman's at second. Hey, Sadon, get ready to learn utility player, buddy, because fucking Christian Campbell's playing left field and Duran's playing center, because obviously.
That maximizes the lineup. The best, I'm sorry, but there are going to be injuries. Sadon doesn't need to start the season as your center fielder. He will get his chance. There are going to be injuries. The best lineup that you can produce with the current construction, I don't know, maybe they trade Massa and something changes. But right now, as things are set up, your best lineup has Christian Campbell, Alex Bregman, Rafeal Devers, and Masataka Yoshida in it. And the best way to get them all in the lineup is with Yoshida as your DH, Campbell in left, Bregman at second, and Devers at third, because third is the only position Devers can play, and you are refusing to put Massa in left field for whatever reason.
Yeah. And I'm very excited to see Campbell. Campbell's going to I think he's going to light the league on fire this year, dude. I think he's going to be very good. Sadon just, I'm sorry, he didn't hit well enough to justify being an everyday player. I think that the way that they have basically stated, like, this guy, he's going to be in our everyday lineup. So someone else needs to prove that they're better than him. And I'm like, he didn't do enough to prove that he was an everyday player last year. Fantastic defender, obviously. His floor is like amazing defender. Like basically what Kevin Kiermaier, like that's his
I was going to say Kike Hernandez because he can play more than one position.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's very fair. Yeah, Kike Hernandez type, a super utility guy. I think that's his floor. But like right now, like we're seeing him at his floor. We don't know if he'll ever hit the offensive ceiling because, he has power. It's just a matter of putting the bat to the ball consistently and also learning how to take, not swing at everything possible around the zone for once in his life. Just do that. That's way easier said than done. We all know, like right now, as of like what people view in terms of like their skill set, everyone thinks Campbell's better than him. Everyone does. They do. Like, let's not be fucking stupid here. Genuinely, everyone knows that right now Roman Anthony's probably better than him. And the only reason he's not going to be in the opening day roster is because he's 20. And like we have, a group of cowards running this team. They don't want to fucking make the movements required to get the young guys in. Fine, whatever. Yeah, man, Sadon, if you wanted to be an everyday starter, you should have done more last year. I thought you were really good. I thought you played good defense. You didn't hit a lick. Like, you're one of the worst chase rates in the entire league. Christian Campbell's one of the best prospects in the big leagues. He's superstar, written all over him. I'm not fucking, benching Campbell for you. I'm not doing it.
I disagree with your assessment a little bit. I think Sadon was fine for a rookie. I just don't think that...
Not good enough.
I don't
stave off Campbell?
But here's the thing, though. I don't think that him not being your starting center fielder on opening day means that he's just done making contributions that he's never going to play. People are going to get hurt. And he plays a lot of positions, so he's the first guy off the bench at that case. He's right-handed. You can take some of the lefties out. He can play over Abreu. It doesn't mean he's not going to get appearances. It just means that right now, this is the best version of the team. And that changes. Like we saw this last year, how quickly that can change. Trevor Story went down. Tristan Cassis went down. William Abreu took a weird step on the dugout stairs and was out for like a month because he twisted his ankle. There are going to be opportunities, so I don't know why people are losing their minds over where he is on opening day against Jacob deGrom.
Because where he should be is on the bench in favor of Christian Campbell, because I'm going to lose my mind because Campbell needs to get every rep he can to reach superstardom as fast as possible.
Well, I'm agreeing with that. I'm completely agreeing with that. That's why
I'm not saying that Sadon is a bum. Like, I know it kind of sounds like it because I'm saying he wasn't good enough. I should say he's not good enough to stave off Christian Campbell, who we all think is amazing. And he's not good enough to eventually stave off Roman Anthony, who, again, is the number one prospect in baseball. Fucking, we think he's going to be a superstar.
That's what I don't think people realize is that they have a lot of very good talent here. A guy like Vaughn Grissom, remember a year ago? Vaughn Grissom was going to be your starting second baseman. He's like the third guy in line now for it, and that's not really Vaughn Grissom's fault. It's just that he got hurt, and there's a bunch of other talents on the team now, and that happens. And it's good to have depth, but it doesn't mean that Vaughn Grissom has to play just because he's a relatively talented athlete that needs the opportunity. Like, the team's gotten deeper.
Yeah. It's like a relatively talented isn't doing it anymore. It's, do you have undeniable talent? Or like, is your talent like, as close to undeniable as it can be, at least in potential? And like, Vaughn Grissom, listen, the second Bregman got signed, everyone was on my side. Yep. It's crazy. I just am correct. And people, sometimes it takes them a bit longer when like the image gets a bit clearer. It's like, oh, well, now there's only really one spot. If like, is it going to be Campbell or is it going to be Vaughn? And then like, you start laughing because it's obviously fucking Campbell. It was always fucking Campbell. Grissom can't carry his jock in comparison to talent. He's not going to fucking play over him. Stop it.
Okay, well, Hogstradamus, I've got a question for you then, since you're always right. What is going to end up happening with this Devers situation? Is it just going to blow over? Is he going to be the DH opening day? What do you think is going to happen?
Maybe he's not the DH opening day. I guarantee he's probably the DH by the All-Star break. Like, also, it could just be a thing where, like, he rotates a bit or whatever to ease him into it. Also, he could just get naturally banged up throughout the season, which he does a lot. And then, like, he's just forced to DH anyway. I think by the end of the year, Rafeal Devers will be the DH of the Boston Red Sox. I really don't think they're going to let Yoshida hold them up in that regard. I just don't think it would be very smart, especially because they despise Masataka. I cannot stress enough how much the Boston Red Sox fucking hate Masataka Yoshida with every fiber of their being. Like already, like where we heard like he wasn't throwing for his throwing program, and already Cora is going back on, like, oh, we're going to play him in left field. He's like, oh, we'll see. Well, yeah, I see right through your motherfucker. I know every one of you fucking operate. You can't sneak shit by me. I fucking know you. They hate this motherfucker. They hate him. He's not going to gain his value back. And that's okay. Find a way to move off of him or DFA him. I don't give a shit.
It's gonna be very interesting with Devers. I think that he's going to end up being primarily a DH, but they will rotate. I think that he will get plenty of opportunities to still play third base, just to keep guys fresh. Even I don't think that this is going to be like a full-time transition, just because that's just really stupid strategically to do with a 28-year-old player to make him a full-time DH. Yordan Alvarez isn't a full-time DH. Justin Turner, who on like one heel wasn't a full-time DH. He was playing second base. He was playing first base. Like you gotta,
necessity though.
Necessity comes up during a season though. Like yeah, in the ideal world, you're not doing that, but people get hurt. A lot of like everyone by the end of the season is going to be hurt in one way or another. No one makes it through healthy.
This team though, like in terms of depth, I'm so not worried over 162 at all.
No.
Like you need to have like 4 or 5 cataclysmic injuries before like we're really starting to feel it. Which in years past it was like one.
Yeah,
one guy goes down and you're fucked.
Yeah, there's also the trade deadline though, so you can if by some what's the opposite of a miracle, like a cataclysm, like 5 guys get hurt. Hopefully it doesn't all happen in April and you can at least still be competitive at the deadline and try to fill in some of those gaps. Plus you have so much minor league talent right now. So many guys that are right on the verge. You have 3 guys that play a whole bunch of different positions in Mayer, Campbell, and Anthony. That's not, and you have even a guy like Grissom becomes more useful if he's playing a little bit of outfield and someone gets hurt.
Yeah. He's
anyway.
Vaughn will play games this year if he doesn't get traded. He'll play games because people will get hurt. Probably. I don't know. I think it's like Willie because how fast is Roman Anthony going to force the issue? I'd say probably immediately.
It depends on who gets hurt though. It really does
absolutely
depend on who gets hurt. How many say Rob Refsnyder gets hurt and you need a right-handed bat up there. Grissom has an edge over everybody except for Campbell. If Campbell's already on the team, doesn't it make sense that Grissom becomes the guy you bring up there?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, fuck.
Yeah, like that's the thing, guys. It's not necessarily going to be your starters that go down. You're going to need other depth pieces to replace them.
Can I just say also, I'm not entirely convinced that like they're done. I think
I'm not either.
I'm pretty sure another trade's coming.
At the very least, they're going to get another pen arm, I think, just because that Chris Martin role hasn't been filled in yet. I don't think Garrett Whitlock and Liam Hendricks are enough for what Kenley Jansen and Chris Martin have done the last 2 years.
And this is based off of 0 sources. It's just logically.
Like it's based on Sam Kennedy literally saying we're not done. And he's been pretty honest as far as when you look back at what he was saying before, turns out he was telling the truth the whole time.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where like we don't want to hear you until you actually do it because they just lied to our faces. They did do it.
They did it. They did
it. He gets some credit. He gets some credit this year. Good for you, Sam. But like just logically, it's like there's 2 players in this team. I'm like, I cannot believe you guys are still here. Cutter Crawford and Muller Abreu.
How the fuck are you?
Cutter. How the fuck is Cutter Crawford still on this team?
Oh, I get why Cutter's still here. You can never have enough pitching.
They've got a lot. And like, is he
really? You can never have enough.
Especially when you've got a guy. It's going to be, talk about like an awkward situation. Obviously, Raffy is a way more high profile guy. Cutter Crawford made 30 starts for you last year. Like that's a guy like you're going to give Giolito his spot and be like getting the pen pitch. Like, I'm sorry. Like talk about a guy who's going to be miffed, a guy who's going to be absolutely fucking livid. Like
it's opportunity.
It would be him.
Someone will get hurt.
I don't know, man.
Shit, Lenny.
Shit, Lenny. That was the best. I don't know. I feel like if there's a deal to be made, like a relatively high profile deal, 1 or 2 or both would be involved. One of those two. Yeah. One of those 2 guys is going to get traded before opening day.
Yeah, well, we all thought it was going to be we didn't think Teal was going to get traded. We all thought it was going to be Mayer if one of the big 3 got dealt, and that it was Teal and Montgomery and Mydroth and Wickelman. So I am not predicting anything. It's amazing to me that Willier is still here, but I kind of like it just because I think he's a really good baseball player.
Because the thing is, I think it'll be one of those 2, and then David Hamilton, like as like the
Hamilton's a man without a role. That's the sort. I feel bad for Hamilton,
which is a shame because like I like David Hamilton a lot as a bench guy. I really do. And listen, I was screaming about him last year, rightfully so. We missed the playoffs because of the stretch.
I don't like shortstop. I don't like starting shortstop David Hamilton. I'm fine with once a week shortstop.
Yeah, if he's playing shortstop once a week, and like usually he's a second baseman, and like you just let him you let him slap the ball around and steal 8 million bases, then like David Hamilton's a fun guy to have on your team, good guy to watch. But like with Sadon, if the team is smart, probably sliding to a utility role. Yes, all of a sudden Hamilton has zero spot on this team, and that makes me sad.
I don't understand the obsession with Sadon being the full-time center fielder, just because
I don't get it.
that his defense is really good, but he plays all of these different positions really well, so why not make full use of that? Why?
Like they don't want to
have, well, is his defense that much better than Jarren Duran's at this point?
No, it's not. Like maybe it's a little better, but Jarren Duran's a fucking,
he's a good center
gold
fielder.
glove center fielder with the potential for a platinum glove. That's how good he was last year in center field. He was amazing. He was like 90th percentile outs above average. He was incredible.
Yeah, and it's not like Sadon's not going to play any center because Abreu, they don't like to start against lefties, so you put him in center or right then. I don't care. Like, he's going to get his reps.
Said he just needs to be a utility guy. He does need to be a utility guy. Let him be your Ben Zobrist. What's wrong with Ben Zobrist? Ben Zobrist was a great player. Like
even Kike Hernandez. Make him your Kike Hernandez. That's fine. Are they that traumatized by him moving to shortstop? Like,
I'm sorry. Like,
versatility is a good thing.
He's not good enough to keep down your biggest prospects. He's just not. He's simply not the case. Christian Campbell, I'm happy that they're smart enough to realize he needs to be on the opening day roster. I really am. I'm very encouraged by that. And like, Roman Anthony, if Willier gets traded, that conversation is going to be like, okay, yeah, like they want him up too, or they want him up soon, like within like by the end, like maybe the beginning of May.
Anyway, this was thank you for coming on last minute for this, Hogdale. This was a very nice venting session. Do you have anything you want to go into before we check out?
Presented by Beyond the Monster.
We already did that. They don't get it twice.
I did it again to make up for the times we forgot.
Well, fuck you.